Hello, hi Ajay.
Okay, hi all. Good evening. So I think let's get started.
Yeah, hi Ajay. Good evening.
Yeah. So let me share my screen first. Okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Okay, fine. So yesterday what we did, we have created Git account. Okay. and after that we have installed the Git on our local, right? So after that, what we did, we just created one project and we push that particular project into the your remote Git account or remote Git repository, right? But most of the you is not aware of what exactly we did, right? So to understand that, we have to understand the Git, right? So let's started with the Git. So first of all, what is mean by Git? So see, basically Git is the
Sir, recording is not running. Kindly check.
I think recording is running.
Okay, okay. Sir.
So if you see the
Yes, yes.
recording is started. Okay,
Yeah, yes.
yeah, fine. All right. So Git is the distributed version control system. Okay. Or you can say the Git is the version control system. Okay. Git is the distributed. Why distributed? Okay. So it's saying like, Git is the distributed version control system. Okay. So distributed means, so it's not on single PC or it's not on single machine. So it's distributed across multiple PCs, multiple devices on multiple computers, right? So basically, Git is the version control system. Version control system, right? So now, what is mean by version control system? Right. So version control means, let's say I'm working on one project, right? And so initially I have developed one software, and I'm saying like this particular software is having version 0.01. Okay, 0.01 version is there. All right. So tomorrow, if I did some changes and I'm saying now the software version is 0.02, right? So version wise, I'm going to push my code into my repository. And in my repository, that particular version is going to maintain. In my repository as well, I'm going to track of that version. So tomorrow, let's say I have developed the version 0.003. Right. But that particular version is having a lot of issues. Now I sent that particular version to my client, and my clients are using that particular version, but they are facing many challenges. Now what to do? Right. So in that case, we can revert our version to previous one, right? That is the 0.02. All right. So we can do it because of we have distributed version control. So there are basically we are maintaining the versions, different versions we are going to maintain in Git. Okay. So Git is basically version control tool. Okay. Version control tool. And why distributed? Because it's going to distribute that version on each and every machine. All right. It's not taking data from my single machine. All right. So everyone's machine, we can have the Git. All right. Now that is the widely used tool. Okay, so Git is the widely used tool as well, and you can manage. Okay, or we can say the with the help of Git, what different things we can do. We can manage basically source code. Okay, so for example, I'm developing one application and I want to do the different actions on that particular source code, right? So with the help of Git source code management tool, I can able to do it. Okay. Now, what is the next benefit that we are getting with the help of Git? Okay, so basically Git allow you or Git allow the multiple developer to work on single project. So basically there is one project available there, right? And for that project, let's say I have team of let's say 10 developer, or let's say I have team of 10 QAs. Okay, which is we using the same repository, right? So now it's very hard, to all of you to work on single project, right? So for that, Git is the solution. Git is the solution for that. All right. So now let's go to the end. Okay. So now how actually Git is working. All right. So basically, see, now this is the, so let's say for example, I'm working on one project. Okay. So let's say this is my computer. Okay. And now, okay. So this is my computer. All right. So in my computer, I have written some code. All right. So I'm writing some code here. Okay. So for example, I have write some code here on my computer, or let's say I have created one project. Okay. Because I am the initial developer and I started, working on one project and I have done some code. Okay. Now let's say tomorrow for the same project. So let's say one new developer joined. So let's say Vajra joined this particular project. All right. So now this is the project, and now Vajra has joined this particular project as well. All right. So now Vajra has to start from where so let's say I have created couple of project structure or maybe some frameworks I have created, right? So now what Vajra has to do, let's say I given Vajra, let's say, so I'm automating one banking application, or for that I have developed the one framework, right? So now what Vajra needs to do, so let's say she has to, uh, develop or automate one particular model. So let's say admin model she has to develop or she has to automate. All right. But for that, she needs code which is on my machine because I have written the framework. So basic framework is on my machine. All right. So now how Vajra will get this particular code? So for that, she needs to, first option is that, okay, attach pen drive to this particular PC and she can copy this particular code, right? But see, tomorrow I'm going to add, let's say I have added, let's say 10 file here, right? So now I have added the 10 files here, all right? Now how I can give? So every time I have to, attach the, that pen drive, physical device or whatever hard disk or something like that, and I have to transfer this data on her machines, and then only she will get the data. Okay. Now, see, project is available on her machine as well, right? But problem is that if I'm doing some changes, all right, just a minute. I'm getting call from, just a minute. Ruhi has not joined, right? So I'm getting call from Ruhi. Hello, Ruhi. You can join from that particular link. So I'll ask, someone to share the link on group. Okay. Okay. Can someone share the link on group to join? Avinash, you have recently, right? So can you share, Avinash, please?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
maybe
Sure, sure.
what I
I will share.
okay. Okay. So where we are, right? So now see, so this is my PC. So I can say this is my PC. So I'm giving the name A. This one is A. Okay. And let's say this is Vajra's PC. Okay. So now see, so in this case, actually transferring, because see, I don't know, I mean, see, where I'm doing the changes, right? So let's say I'm modifying some existing file, or maybe I'm modifying, creating new file, I'm deleting file, right? So it's very difficult to track those changes, okay, when one more person is in our team. Okay, so let's consider tomorrow one more person joined. So let's say Digambar joined this particular project, right? So this is the Digambar's machine, right? So now it's more difficult, right? Because see, Ajay is doing some changes, Vajra is doing some changes, and those changes needs to give to the whom Digambar, right? So it's quite difficult, for Digambar as well, right? So getting these changes, right? So it's become a problem. So problem is that if you're having multiple people working on same project, if you're having multiple people working on the same project, so from them it's very difficult to manage the code. Because why? Because see, we are having code on your local machines, right? So solution for this is you should have one centralized repository. Okay, so what we can do now? Okay, we will have one centralized repository. So let's say this is my remote repository, or I can say the centralized repository. Okay, so let's say this is my centralized or remote repository. Okay, so this is my remote repository now, or maybe I'll have little bit big. So you have shared Avinash, right? Link.
Yes, I have shared.
Right. So thanks Vipin, thanks Avinash. Okay, so let's say I'm having this repository. Okay, now this is my repository. Okay, now this repository is, I'm saying like this is a remote repository. Okay, why remote? Because I'm maintaining code here on remote location. Okay, this is my remote repository. Okay, so this is my remote repository. Okay, so now what I will do, initially I have started the project development, right? So as soon as I have developed some code, what I will do, I'll push those changes into the remote repository. So basically what I will do, I will create one repository here. Basically I will create one repository here. Okay, so let's say this is the Java test project or something like, Java framework or something like that. I will create the repository. Where? On remote repository. Okay, or we can say the on GitHub. Okay, now in this particular repository, what I will do, I'll push my changes. Okay, so I will push my changes here. Okay, so I have pushed my changes here. Okay, so I can say push. So I have pushed my changes here. Push the changes, right? So tomorrow what will happen? Now see, whatever code I'm having, all this code I'm pushing on this particular repository. I have pushed on this particular repository. All right. So tomorrow, let's say Vajra join, right? So what he will do? Oh, sorry, what she will do? She will just, clone this particular project on her machine. Now she will clone this particular project on her machine. So whatever code I have pushed here, so let's say I have pushed this particular code. Okay, so here some code I have written, and I have pushed this particular code into my repository, right? So all code will be available as soon as she will clone, right, project, right? So all the code will be available here. All the code will be available here. Okay, so we can say she did what? Clone, clone of the project. Okay, so as soon as she did the clone, so all the project or code will be available, right? So now what I did, I'm just doing some changes here. Okay, so let's say I have modified one file, I have deleted one file, and I have added the new file. All right. So after that, what I will do, I'll just push my code. I'll just push my code again. Okay, once my development is done, or once my changes is done, I'll push my code again. Okay, where? On remote repository. I'll push my code changes here on remote repository. All right. So once I push the code changes, what will happen? Okay, so let's say once Vajra done her changes, right? So what she will do? She will take the pull. Okay, or maybe she just started working. So what she did, she will take a pull now. Now she will not clone the repo. What she will do? She will pull the code. Clone you have to done only first time. Okay, so she will clone the code. All right. So now let's say Vajra started, doing actual coding. So let's say she has developed some code, added some file, modified some file, or deleted some file. All right. So as soon as her development is completed, what she will do? She will just push this particular code to the remote repository. She will push their code to the remote repository. Okay. Now, whenever I will take the latest, or whenever who is joining the project, he's taking the code from here, he will get all the latest code. So let's say Digambar joined this particular project, right? After, you know, I have done some development. Vajra has developed some project. I mean some code, right? And now third person came, right? So for him, just have to take the clone of this particular repo. Why? Because whenever I'm doing the changes, I'm just pushing those changes into this repository. Whenever I'm doing modification, I'm just pushing those changes into the remote repository. Okay. And whenever I need, latest code, I'm just pulling those code on my repository, sorry, on my machine. Right. So tomorrow, if new people join or some new members join to the team, what they will do? They will just pull the code, or initially they will clone the project. Clone means they will create the copy of the project on their machine. Right. We'll see how to do the clone as well. But what they will do exactly? They will clone the project. They will clone the project. Okay. Or as of now, you can say just pull the code. Okay. So they will pull the code on their machine. Okay. So now whatever latest development is available or latest development is done, all the code will be available here in this machine as well. Okay. So tomorrow, let's say new member join. Okay. So let's say Vipin join, right? So Vipin will also pull the code from this particular repository. So that's the reason this is called as a centralized repository. Whenever you are doing some modification, whenever you're adding some files, whenever you're deleting some file, whenever you're doing some extra code, modifying the existing file, lastly, what you are going to do? You're going to push the code into this particular repository. So let's take the example. So for example, this is my existing project. Okay. And let's assume on this particular project. So let's say in our batch, let's say currently 8 people joined, right? So all the 8 people working on this particular project. So I am not alone working on this project. All the 8 peoples are working. So this is different one, but let's assume that I'll maybe what I will do. This is different batch. Okay, our code is here. So let's wait for. Okay, so now let's assume. Okay, so let's assume now this is the project, and so far we have developed this particular project, right? So tomorrow I feel like okay, so there is one class. So let's say first program Java, and or maybe I will take some different example. Let's say student, right? So let's say here we are getting some error, okay, or maybe we are not able to run this particular file, right? So it's saying like these cannot use in static context. So I got the error. I should not use this here, right? So what I will do? I will remove the this. That means I have changed the existing file, right? Now as soon as I made the changes, okay, so let's say it started working, and now this class we are able to run it. All right. So now what I will do? I will push these changes. Whatever changes I have done, I'll push these changes. Okay, where? On remote repository. I'll push. So I have done one change. I'll push that change into the remote repository. Okay. Now let's say Digambar is also having dependency on that particular code, because Digambar is not able to run because of we are getting the error. Right. So Digambar is also not able to run the code. Now Digambar is as well not going to fix that particular issue. So I will tell Digambar, or I will tell on communication channel, I have fixed that particular issue. Please take the latest pull. Please take latest code. Okay. So as soon as I pin, let's say we are using Teams, right? So I will tell on Teams, I have fixed that particular issue. So you can take the pull, latest pull. So what Digambar and Vajra will do, they will take the pull because I have pushed my changes right from here to here. All right. Now latest changes is available. In that change, I have fixed one issue. All right. So now those changes needs, let's say Vajra as well as Digambar as right. So Digambar will take the pull, Vajra will take a pull from this. And as soon as they will take the pull, whatever changes I have pushed, they will get the changes, right? So now I don't have to dependency, right? Like, I have to use the pen drive or I have to use the hard drive, right? So whatever changes I'm doing, I will push it into the remote repository, and whenever I will require the latest code, I will pull that from remote repository. Because in remote repository, always you are going to have the latest code. Sorry. So in remote repository, always you're going to have latest code. Clear this particular concept? Why Git is necessary? Okay, so what is the problem initially? So we can say that track the modification or share the code is quite difficult, right? So in that case, Git is came in picture. Okay, so in Git, what we can do? We can maintain one centralized repository or remote repository where we can pull the latest code. Okay, and everyone will use that latest code from that particular created remote repository or centralized repository, so that everyone should be on same page. Any doubt here?
Sir, it acts like a just like a shared drive that we have update
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
the code.
All right. So see, in share drive, suppose I'm having, I have to stored the bunch of files. All right. So tomorrow, let's say four people is having access for that particular share drive, and I have given all the access. Let's say read, write, execute. Suppose I'm deleting some files from there, right? And after that, I downloaded that particular share drive folder, right, on my local machine, right? So whatever I have deleted, that file is not going to download, right? So whenever I'm downloading that particular folder. So similarly, if I'm doing some changes and if I push those changes, so they all those latest changes I have done, all the changes will be will be updated here in remote repository, and whenever anyone take the pull or anyone take the latest code, they will get the changes that I have done. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ajay.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is that when we taking the pull, right, and we are pushing the code.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose two, three peoples are pushing the code into the one branch or one repository, then maybe a conflict will come. Means that how means that you are handling this
Yeah.
scenario or this issue.
Yes. I'll come to this particular point. Okay, so before that, we have to understand how to raise the PR, what is meant by pull, what is meant by push, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we will go step by step. I'll come to that particular point. Okay, don't worry.
Okay. Sure. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so basically we'll just, understanding the overview of the Git. Why Git is important? Why Git is required? What is the problem before? All right. And now how the Git solve the problem? Right.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, there are two things when we develop any software or product.
Mm-hmm.
One is release and one is version. So when we are going to update the version and when we are going to release,
See, this is
update
this is
that
complete.
release.
This is completely dependent on your organization to organization. It will change organization to organization. It's not like, so. Let's see. I'm working in one organization, and they are saying like, after I'm having sprint of, let's say 2 week, and after every 2 weeks my sprint will end, right? So next sprint will start. Then again, after 2 weeks, that sprint will end. Then again, next 2 weeks, next sprint will end. So let's say combination of three print, we can say the one iteration is there, right? So now we have committed to client that after two iteration, we will release the next version, or we will release the next build, right? So in that case, how many sprint is required? Because I'm saying two iteration is required, and in what iteration, three sprints are there, right? So it's totally depend on your projects. It's totally depend on your organization, how to release the version, how to release the your build. Build means build. What is mean by build?
Sir, build is basically used when anything is developed and which
Right.
is not
So
going to release.
build
It
means,
is just
suppose
for
if you are
test.
having working software, okay, you can give that particular software any number, and you can say this is my build. So let's say build 001. And version means also same. Okay, version in build, I don't think any there are much difference. Okay, but organization to organization it will change.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So now see, you have to understand basic how Git is working, right? So basically, whenever anyone doing change, he will push the code. Whenever one required, latest code, he will pull the code. All right. So pull and push. These are the two major activity that we are going to do on the Git. Okay. So now I will move to that particular slide again. Okay. So where we are, this one. Yeah. Okay. So what is Git? Git is the distributed version control system. Or somebody ask you what is the Git? Git is source code management tool. So you can say the source code management tool, or you can say the version control system. Okay. Now that is widely used to track your changes. Okay. What do you mean by changes? So let's say I'm doing some changes, right? Where I'm doing the changes in source code. When I'm doing the changes during the software development life, during the software development. So let's say for the while the software development, if I'm doing the multiple changes, okay, now to tracking the all these changes, or you can all these versions, for that we have version control system. For that we have version control system. So Git is the your distributed version control system that is widely used for the tracking the changes in your source code. Source code means this particular code is called as a source code. Whatever code you are writing here, this particular code is called as a source code. Okay. So what you are tracking with the help of Git, we are tracking the changes. Okay. We are tracking the changes where in source code. So whatever changes you are doing in the source code, we are just tracking those changes with the help of Git. Okay. And when you are doing the changes during the software development. Okay. So it's not like that if you're doing the software development on only that case you are doing the code only. Right. For the automation testing as well, we'll require some code. Right. So in that case, we can say the during the automation, you can use this for the version control. Okay. So Git is the version control system. Git is the version control system, or you can say the source code management tool. Both are similar. Source code management tool or version control tool. Okay. It is used to track the changes in your source code. Whatever changes you are going to do in your source code, you will get exact history of those changes. So for example, so let's say Vipin is doing some changes, right? So those changes, I can easily see, okay, what exactly Vipin changes in the repository, what exactly Vipin done the changes, right? So those changes I can see in history. Okay, I will tell you where. Okay, now uh, because of Git, multiple developer can simultaneously work without interfering each other works. Okay, so as I said, like, if I have to work some files, right? So I will take the latest code. if I want to work, for example, on this particular project, which is already developed, right? So I will take the latest pull. I will start my working. As soon as my work is finished, I will push the code. Okay, somebody is required. Let's say Digambar is required, so he will pull the code. He will start his development. Whenever his work is finished, he will push the code. Right. So now I am not dependent on, let's say, Digambar, and Digambar is not dependent on Vajra or me. All right. So each and every one can work independently. Each and every one can work independently. Okay. So that is the main agenda of Git. Okay. That is the main use of the Git. Okay. It allows multiple user or multiple developer to work on projects simultaneously at a time without interfering. This is important. Without interfering each other changes or each other works. Okay, so this is called as the Git. Now you got the what is mean by Git. So Git is basically version control system or version control or what, source code management tool. Okay, this is widely used to track your changes in your source code during the software development. Okay, it allows multiple user to work simultaneously without interfering each other changes. Okay, this particular line we'll see later on how we can, I mean, work in multiple user. Okay, but this is about the Git. Somebody ask you what is meant by Git, so you have to tell this. Okay, clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now see similarly how we are having Git, right? So Git is basically so whatever command I'm executing, so that particular activity we can say the Git. Right. Now we have GitHub as well. Okay, so if you see yesterday I have opened one uh let's close this. So I'll say GitHub. Okay, so actually I'm not opening the Git, right? So I'm saying GitHub. Okay, so now someone can ask you what is difference between Git and GitHub. Okay, so on this step on this stage you might be confused. Okay, I'll tell the definition wise. Okay, later on I will tell the difference as well. Okay, so now so see whatever I'm doing here from this particular machine. Okay, so let's say I'm using the git pull, git push. Okay, so I'm doing this with the help of Git. I'm doing this with the help of Git. Okay, so now here I'm creating the repository. So for example, I have created this repo 2 or batch number 17 I have created, right? So this is I'm creating with the help of GitHub. Okay, so with the help of GitHub, I am managing my remote repository. I can say this is my remote repository and I'm managing this repository with the help of GitHub. Right. So apart from that, what we can do, we can add the issue, you can add the pull request. So these are the functions available in GitHub. Okay, so GitHub with the help of GitHub what one can do. So let's say I found this is some code that I have added. Okay, so this is the src I have added, right? In this src, let's say there is one issue. Okay, and I want to add the issue for this particular code, right, or this particular version. So I will mention here. Okay, so this code is not working on Windows machine. Okay, so basically I want to add this particular issue. So what I will do, I will just add this particular issue here and I'll just submit it. Okay, so basically I can add the issues here as well. Okay, so I can see the pull request here. Okay, pull request, I will come this particular point. Okay, later on, but let's see, we can add the pull request. We can manage the actions. Different actions are there. All right, then project we have, we can manage the project. Then we can manage the wiki. Wiki is for the documentation purpose, and we have some settings and all, right? So see, I have added one project, or I have created one repository, or I have created one Git project, Git project, right? And for that project, for the supporting, we are having different actions. So let's say we can see the code from here, we can add the issues, we can track those issues, we can see the pull requests, we can actions is just plugins or something like that. Okay, we can manage the project, we can add the wikis. All right, so these are the different actions I can do it from the GitHub. So this particular application is called as the GitHub. Okay, so GitHub allows you to perform the multiple actions around the Git project, around the Git project. So once you created the one Git project, right? So for that Git project, we can do the multiple actions from here. Okay, through with the help of GitHub. Okay, so Git is different, GitHub is different. So whatever actions I have shown you yesterday through the command line, so those we are doing with the help of Git. Okay, and now once the project is here, you can do the different actions on that particular source code. Okay, with the help of GitHub. Okay, so this particular application is called as the GitHub. Okay, so where we are creating the repository, centralized repository in GitHub. We're creating centralized repository in GitHub. We're managing code here. We are able to see the pull request here. Wiki we are creating here. All right. So these are the different functionality of the GitHub. Okay. So now what is the GitHub? See, so GitHub is the cloud-based platform built around the Git. Git is the cloud-based platform. Okay, so basically this is the cloud-based application. So the person who have created the Git, so he has provided this cloud-based solution. Okay, where we can see the repository, we can create the pull request, we can add the wikis. All right. So these are the different actions we can perform on the Git with the help of this cloud-based solution. What is the name of cloud-based solution? GitHub. Name of the cloud-based solution is the GitHub. Okay, so GitHub is the cloud-based platform built around the Git. Okay, providing the web interface to manage your Git repository. Okay, so basically there is one cloud-based platform, or there is one cloud-based solution. Okay, which is built around the Git. Okay, so whatever Git project you are doing, okay, for that one cloud-based solution is there. Okay, which is providing okay web interface. So now if you see, this is the web interface. So this particular application is web-based application. So that's the reason we are saying this is the web interface. Manage the Git repository. It is required to manage the Git repository. Okay, it extend the Git capability with the additional tool collaboration. Okay, what different capability it's added. Okay, so you can collaborate, you can do the code review, then you can manage the your project. Okay, so I mean, see, now I'm executing on command on my local. There I cannot see the code, I cannot review the each other's code. All right, now I will push that particular code in GitHub repository. There what you can do, you can review the code, you can manage the code, you can collaborate, you can discuss that particular code. And this is possible because of this GitHub, this particular application. I will come to this particular point. Okay, so once we started pull push code, then you will get a little bit idea. But moreover, through the Git, what we can do, we can create the remote repository, you can manage your project, you can create the pull request, you can create the documentation, you can track the issues, or you can do the CI/CD. Okay, that particular point as well, we'll come to this later. Okay, but these different action you can perform with the help of Git. Okay, so these are the different actions you can perform with the help of GitHub. Okay, so now Git is different and GitHub is different. Now you will get to understand difference between Git and GitHub. Okay, but uh, uh, not now. For that we have to do some execute some command. Then you will get idea how to raise the PR. What is mean by this pull request? What is mean by creating wikis? Okay, so you'll get the idea. Okay, but basically with the help of GitHub, so GitHub is basically cloud-based platform, which is built around the Git. Cloud-based platform, which is built around the Git and providing the web interface to manage the Git repository. So this is basically web interface to manage the Git repository. Okay, so which is having additional capabilities like code review, project management. Okay, and these are the different actions you can do with the help of Git. You can create the repository, you can manage the project, you can create the pull request, you can track the issues, You can do the CI/CD as well, right? Now let's understand how Git internally works. All right. So how Git internally works. All right. So now see, whenever I'm saying like Git, right? So see what initially we did very first time. You have created one project on your local. All right. So and you have initialized that particular Git repo. All right. Or maybe I will clone the project. Okay. So as soon as I clone any Git project, okay. So what it will do? It will add that particular project into either your workspace. Okay. So in your computer or whenever you are having Git project, so there are three areas available in the Git. So which are those? So first area is your workspace. Second area is the staging area. So second area is your staging area. And third area is your local repository. So these three areas are available inside your machine only. Inside your machine only. So let's say, let's take the example. Let's say Avinash, right? So Avinash is having his computer and he's just cloning some project, right? So as soon as he clone the Git project, so there are three areas will be created. Okay, which are those? So first one is the workspace. Second one is the staging area. Now after that, local repository. So local repository. All three are available on Avinash machine. All right. Now there is one more repository available, that is the remote repository. So remote repository is simple, right? So this particular repository, which is my GitHub repository, that I can say that this is my centralized or remote repository. So this one is the remote repository. There is no confusion. But what about these three areas I'm talking about, right? So there might be confusion is there, right? So what is these three areas, right? So first one is showing, you are saying like workspace. Then you are saying staging. Then you are saying local repository. Then you are saying remote repository, right? So these are the three areas that are available on your machine. Okay. Now, whenever I'm executing the different command, your code just, changes from one. So let's say I'm saying like, workspace, right? In workspace, I'm doing some changes, right? So what I'm doing there, I'm saying git add, right? Whenever I'm doing some changes, I'll say git add. So that particular add command will move your code, or not exactly move, or you can say the copy your code into the staging area as well. Into the staging area as well. Okay. So now when I'm saying like git commit, right? So what it will do? It will move your code from the staging to the local as well. So it will copy your code into the local repository as well. All right. So whenever I'm saying git push, right? So what it is doing? It is pushing your code from the remote repository, sorry, from your local repository to your remote repository, to your remote repository. It will push your code from your local repository to the remote repository. Okay. So you have to do it like this. Okay. So first of all, you have to do the changes here. Okay. So whenever I want to do the changes, I have to do the changes in workspace. Okay. Then if I'm sure like, I'm done with my changes, what I will do? I will do the git add. So as soon as I'm doing the git add, those changes will be getting added into the staging area. Those changes will be getting added into the staging area. So now I'm sure about, I want to push that particular code to the remote repository. But before remote repository, you have to add those changes into the staging area. So for that command is the git commit. So commit, what it will do? It will copy your code from the staging to the local repository. Now, once your code is into the local repository, from local repository, you can push the code to the remote repository. So local repository to remote repository. Okay, I cannot push my code directly from the workspace to the remote repository or staging to the direct remote repository. It's not possible. So first of all, you have to do the changes here. Then those changes you have to add into the staging repository, sorry, into the staging area. Once you've done the changes into the staging area, then you have to add those changes into the local repository. And once your changes is on local repository now, from here you can push the changes into the remote repository. Okay, you're getting this? This is
So
clear for
stage,
everyone. These three areas.
oh, sir, staging में क्या होता है?
Staging means you can say there is one area, reserve area. Okay. So here you have to add the code. Okay. So once I'm saying git add, right? So it will add my code into the staging area from my workspace to the staging area. Okay. Now if I'm saying like, git commit. Okay. So what it will do, it will add my code from the staging area to the local repository. So now my code is available into the local repository. From my local repository, I can push it into the remote repository. Okay. So now let's understand this particular diagram. Okay. So first of all, I have to do the changes. Okay. So what I will do, I'll just close this particular one. Okay. So, so let's say this is one project. Uh, okay, so this is one project and I want to push some changes in this particular project. Okay, so for that I will go here and I'll go to the properties and these are the changes, right? So if you see git folder is there, right? So on this location, where is your .git folder is available, on that location I have to say git open git bash. So you have to see where is your .git file is available. So my .git file is available here, right? So in this location, I'll say open git bash, open git bash. Okay. So now there are some conflict, so which is I already resolved. So what I will do, I will just ignore whatever steps I'm doing right now. Okay. Just ignore this one. Okay. Because I'm getting this, merging conflicts, right? So first of all, I will resolve this and then I will tell you how to do it. Okay, so just ignore this part. Okay, git push origin. Okay, see now, see this is the project, right? So this is the project available, and now see if I'm doing the git. Uh, Before that, I will clear this particular screen. Okay, so now see in this particular location, I'm saying like git status. Okay, I'm doing the git status here, right? So now if you see in billing folder, I'm not doing any changes. So this particular red part, just ignore it because we are not going to push this particular red. I mean, bin we are not going to push this Ajay, we are not going to push that class.path, project.path, setting. We are not going to push this, right? So this particular code you can ignore. But apart from this, we do have any changes. How do I get to know? Is there any changes or not? Because it will show in red color. So in red color there is nothing available, right? So that means I can say there is nothing to commit or there is no change available for the commit, right? But now what I did, so tomorrow let's say I'm working on project, and for that project I need to create one utility file, right? So I will go here and I'll say one util class I want to create. Okay, util class is there, and I'll say okay, so util is created here. And I'm saying this is util file, util class, or I will print this particular message system.out.println. Okay, so I'll say this is my util class. So basically I have done some changes here, right? So now this is the existing project that we have I mean created or that we have pushed yesterday, right? So this is the existing project, right? Now we have pushed that particular this particular changes into the remote repository. But now see, uh, that thing I have done yesterday. All right. So tomorrow I came up with, okay, I got one task, and for that particular task, I need to create this particular utility folder, right? Or here in this particular file, I required one method. Okay, so let's say void, uh, let's say read file. Okay, so this is particular method I required. So I have written this particular method. So in this particular method, I'm going to write the code to read the file. Okay, so let's assume that I have written this particular code to read this particular file. All right. So this is the something that I have done today. This is something I have done today. Okay, as part of my today's office work. Right. So now at the end or whenever I finish this particular work, right? So what I need to do, I need to push that particular code into my remote repository, and then only I can say like, my task is done, my work is done. Then I close my Jira ticket. All right. But I have to push that particular code into the remote repository. Then and then only I can say my work is done. All right. So for that, what I will do, I have done the changes. Okay, this is done. Okay, basically I have updated one file. All right. So now whenever I'm seeing here, I'm going here and I'm saying git status. Okay. Now if you see in package, one util.java file is created. Inside the src package, one util.java file is created. All right. So now what exactly we did? Okay. So in git, we have three areas. So in that, first one is the workspace. First one is the workspace. So now what I did, I have updated my code or I have changed my code into the workspace, into the my workspace. So this particular, this particular is my workspace. Okay, so this particular where I can see this is my workspace. So in workspace, I have done some changes. Okay, workspace, I have done some changes. Okay, now as soon as I done the changes, okay, so those will reflect here. Those will reflect here. Okay, but where I'm doing the changes, workspace itself. Okay, so whenever you're doing changes, you are going to do it into the workspace only. You are not going to do your changes into the staging area direct. You are not going to do your changes into the local area. Okay, you have access for workspace only. So whatever changes you are going to do, you are going to do in workspace. So now in workspace, I have done some changes. So this is the first part of the, or this is the first area, that is the workspace area. Right. But now these changes I have to push here into the remote repository. From workspace, I cannot push these changes into the remote repository. That means my centralized repository, it's not allowed me to directly push the changes. All right. So for that, what I need to do? For that, I need to push my changes first of all, staging area. So once those changes are in staging area, I have to push those changes into the my local repository. And once the changes is available from the in the local repository, from this particular repository, we can push the remote repository. So everyone knows what is meant by remote repository, right? Or anyone is still having confusion what is meant by remote repository? Everyone clear, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, Hello,
Yes.
sir. Why we are pushing our code from workspace to staging and then to local?
This is the
Why
architecture
we
of this
why
is the
we can't directly send to local? What is the
this
use
is
of?
not possible because this is the architecture what we are seeing here, architecture of git. Okay, so what they did, they build git architecture like this. You cannot push your code directly to the remote repository. Okay, so whenever you want to push your code, you have to go through all these particular phases or all these areas, then and then only you can push the code. Right, so this is the architecture of git. Whatever we seeing here, this is the architecture of git. Okay, so we don't have control on this.
But what
Okay,
exactly staging do, sir? I mean, any
it's you can say
functionality?
you can say this is the temporary area. Okay, so first of all you are doing the changes here. Okay, so now you are sure about, okay, I want to push those changes, right? So then you can add those changes into the staging area. Okay, now you're sure, I want to I want to push all the changes into the remote repository. Then you have to add those into the local repository, right? So once your code is on local repository, then you can push the changes. I'll tell you, just understand how it's moving, file from one area to other area, then you will get the idea. Okay, I'll tell you,
Okay.
okay, what is meant by staging, why you have to add the, and what benefit you will get, after adding the area, changes into the staging area. Okay, and local area, local repository. Right. So just try to understand first, and once today's topic is finished, still you are having some doubt on this area, then just let me know. But first of all, try to understand what exactly we are doing here. Okay, so as of now, just understand there are three areas available. Okay, first one is the workspace, second one is the staging area, third one is the local repository. So first, whatever changes you are doing into the workspace area. You are doing into the workspace area. So see, I have done some changes. I have done some changes. I have added this particular file. That means I have added this particular file into the my workspace area. I have added this particular file into the my workspace area. Now, whenever I'm seeing status, right, it's showing into the red. That means this is available inside my which area? Workspace area. This is available in my workspace area. Now, what I will do, because I have to add this particular file into the staging area, right? So I will say git add. So there is one command, git add command is there, right? So what this command will do, it will move, it will add your changes into the staging area. Now in staging area, these changes is not available. Whatever changes I have did, those are not available into the staging area, right? So I will execute the git add command, and I'll pass this particular file. I'll say I want to add this particular file, right? So I'll say git add, and I will give the file path. Right. So now command is executed successfully. Now what we are saying, once we do the add command, what it will do? It will add your changes from the which repository? Your
Staging
no
works.
workspace to your staging. It
Staging.
is moving the changes from the workspace to staging. So So whenever I done any changes, it will be in your workspace, right? So that after that, you have to use the git add command. That add command, what it will do? It will move your changes from your workspace, or it will uh, add your changes into the staging area as well. Right now in staging area, don't have those changes available. Whatever changes I have done, those are in staging area, but sorry, those are in workspace area, right? But those are not available in staging area. So with the help of add command, what I can do, I can add those changes into the staging area as well. So we have already done the add command. Now we will use the command git status, and we'll see what happening. Okay, I'm saying git status. Okay, now if you see, it's showing in the green. Previously it's showing in the red. Red means it is in working directory, and now this is green means this is available into your staging area. This particular file is available into the staging area. All right. Now
Sir,
after
can
the
we see
staging area,
the staging file in the Git, this staging temporary file created?
sorry, sorry,
Sir, can we see the staging file uh,
no, no, no,
repository?
no, no. You can say this particular file is we have added right in staging area. So this is the file. Why you want to see there?
Just want to know where our temporary file is created
No,
in
no, no.
our local.
It's not possible to see. Just imagine. I mean, this is now available into the staging area.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now see, tomorrow if I'm doing some changes in this particular file again. So now I have added this into the staging area with the help of which command? Git add. right? So see, the changes is added into the my staging area. But still, suppose I want to do some changes, right? So for example, if I'm doing some changes in pattern, okay. So in pattern, let's say tomorrow I feel like, um, or maybe primary number. Okay. So let's say I feel like, there should be one message. All right. So for example, I have added this particular message. Okay. So now I have added one more change, right? One more change is added. So now this change I have made where? Which area? This change I have made in which area? So there are three
Workspace.
areas.
Space.
Workspace, right? And in staging, I have already added one file, right? In staging area, I have already added one file, right? Now in this case, if I do, and I can say like git status. So now it will show how many changes?
Two.
Two changes it should show, right? So one I have already added into the staging area, and one I have added into the where? Workspace,
Workspace.
right? So now if you see, it's saying like no, this file is into the staging area, okay, and this file is your where?
Workspace.
Workspace. So this is in staging, and this is in your workspace. This is in staging, and this is in workspace. Okay, so now you can, I mean, differentiate it, which is in stage area and which is in workspace available, right? So this is in my workspace, but I'm not interested in, push this particular change, right? So in that case, I will leave it, right? So we can say this is the benefit. Okay, so which one I want to use, or which one I can want to, or maybe I want, push this particular change as well. In that case, I will say I want to add this particular code, right? So I will say git add, and this particular, because this is in workspace area. From workspace we can move it into the staging area, right? So I'll say git add and this particular command, right? After that I will see git status, right? So now if you see both the changes of one file I have modified and one file I have created new, so both the changes are showing in green after the git add, because both the file I have done the git add, right? So as soon as I'm doing the git add, those changes is added into the staging area. Those changes is added into the staging area. Okay. Now git here is saying you, okay, if you want to remove these changes from the staging area, or in that case, you can use the git restore and hyphen hyphen stage, and you have to provide the file name. Then it will the unstage. Unstage means it will remove the changes from the staging area. Okay, but as of now, we don't want to do it. Okay, we'll first of all see the, uh, straightforward way. Then we'll see how to reword and all. All right. So I have added changes. Now currently we are where? So workspace we have done some changes. From workspace to we have added some changes into the staging area. So currently we are here. Currently we are here. Okay. Now I want to push, or I want to add those changes into the local repository now. Right. So how to add the local repository? For that we have to use the git commit command. For that we have to use the git commit command. Okay, so how to do the git commit? So for that I have to say git commit -m, then I can give the commit name. Okay, so I can say like, added. Okay, so your commit, this is the message for the commit. Okay, so -m means I'm giving the message as well. Okay, so this particular message should be meaningful. Meaningful means whatever changes you have done in these two files, you have to mention those changes. So I will say added new file for util function. Okay, so like this you can give some meaningful message. Okay, okay, so that tomorrow if anyone see, okay, what this commit is having actually, all right, so they will get to know, they will get to know what you have committed. All right, so now, all right, so what I will do, I'll say okay, uh enter. Okay, now if you see, it's saying like, those changes is committed. changes is committed successfully. Okay. Now after this command, what it will do, it will move your changes or it will add your changes from staging to local repository. It will add your changes from the staging to the local repository, and you can say it will create one commit id as well. Okay, so in this particular commit I'm just added two changes. Okay, so one is one file I have modified and one file I have created as a new. Okay, so I will show you how to see the commits as well, but I have committed two files. Okay, that means committed means from the staging to local. I have added the changes from the staging to local. What commit will do? It will add your changes from the staging area to the local area. Now my changes are in local area. Now if you see, if I'm doing the git status, now it will not show you any changes. Why? Because I have committed those changes. It will not show. If you want to see those changes, you have to go for the commit ID. Okay, so you have to find out the commit ID, and in that commit ID you can see that changes. Okay, but as of now we'll not see okay how to check the commit ID and all. Okay, but I have moved changes from my workspace. In workspace I have done some changes. After the git add, those changes will move to the staging area. Now on staging area I done execute the git commit command. After that, it will move my changes from the staging area to the local area, sorry, local repository. Now all my changes, the two file changes I have done, those available in local repository. Those available in local repository now. All right. And my ultimate goal is, to push that particular code into the remote repository. All right. So to push the code to the remote repository, what I will do, I'll say git push origin. Now here I'm saying origin always. Now what is mean by origin? Origin means as of now you can consider the remote repository. Origin means remote repository. I'm mentioning here I want to push the code to my remote repository, and repository in repository branch name is this one. So master, this is the master branch name, right? So I'm saying I want to push the code to the master branch. Okay, and I'll say push. Okay, so immediately after that, what it is saying, your code is pushed. All right, so this message is coming means your code is pushed to the remote repository. Your code is pushed to the remote repository. Right. So now I will go. So it's saying master to master. Why master to master? So if you see, it's saying master to master because here on my local master branch is there, and on remote as well, it's just moving the code to the master branch as well. All right. So let's go to the remote repository, and there we'll see. Okay, it's moving the it's showing the changes or not. So for that, I'll go to here or maybe here, right? Okay, so this is your remote Git repository, right? So in that batch 71, we have done the changes, right? So inside the src, or maybe I will refresh. So see, added new files for the util function. So this particular message is displayed here. Why? Because inside the package one, we have done the changes. So for the package one, it's showing the commit message here. Whatever commit message I have added, that commit message is showing here. But it's not showing here because I haven't done any changes in this particular folder. Right. So I will go inside this and see these are the changes. So this is the commit ID. So if you see commit, and it's giving the commit ID. So in that particular commit, I have done the two changes. In that particular commit, I have done the two changes. So in this particular commit, I can see these two changes I have done this particular commit ID. And if I go to my code and if I say okay src and inside package one, okay, inside the package one, which file is that? Util file is there, right? So util file is available here, right? And for the util ID, you can see the commit ID is here, commit is here as well, right? So if I open the util, so this is the something I have added. All right, so that particular code is pushed now, right? So this is how we can push the code. This is how we can push the code. So let's say tomorrow, let's say uh, next day I came and next day I got the another work. Okay, so next day I got the work, I have to create one. let's say method. In I have to create one class, and in that particular class, or maybe so for example, let's say for the this test particular test, right? So I'm getting some error, right? So I have to resolve this error, right? So basically I have added extra string here, right? So maybe I need to remove this particular extra string, right? So this is the task I got. Okay, resolve this error. So I just removed this, and error is gone, right? But I have done the changes to remove this. I have done some changes right here, right? So now my work is done. I want to push the code into where my remote repository, right? So again, you have to follow these steps. Okay, so first step, what you need to do? First step, what you have to do? First step, what you are going to do? Okay, so once you added some changes, what you are going to do? Git status, right? So git status you are going to execute first. So you will see the how many changes you have done. All right. So once git status is done, what you are going to do? Git
Add.
add. Okay, and you are going to give the file name. Okay. Once this add is done, okay, add is done. What you are going to do? Git
Commit.
commit minus m, and you give the
Name.
commit message here. Right. So once commit is done, what you are going to do? Git push origin master, for example. Okay. So this four command only. Okay, so here as well you can check the status. Okay, git status after doing add, right? So you can check the status. Okay, after doing the commit, you can check the status. Okay, it's good, to check the status after each and every command, right? So I will say git status. You can check here as well. Status you can check here. Okay, so now only these four command. How many commands? One, two, three, and four command is there, right? So on day-to-day life, you have to execute only this particular four command to push the code. Okay, so will go in a complex thing as well. Okay, but you have to remember first, as a first step, you have to remember all these four command. Okay, so whenever I'm doing the changes, I'm going to check the status. Okay, now it will show me how many changes you have done. Okay, now I have to add those changes into my staging area. For that, I will execute the command git add. Okay, now after the add, I will again change the status. It's not mandatory, but you can check the status. Okay, what is the status? Okay, whether my file is added into the staging area or not. Right. So once your file is added into the staging area, what you need to do? You need to check the, sorry, you need to say the git commit. Commit will do what? It will add your changes into the local repository. It will add your changes into the local repository. Then again, you can check the status. Okay, here as well, it's not mandatory. You are just checking the status. Okay, all the files is added or not. Okay, now once you've done the commit, finally what you can do? You can push the changes into your branch or remote. You can push your changes into the remote branches. You can push your changes into the remote branches. Right. So this is the first step. Okay, this is the first step, and it's very important. Okay, for the push the code. Step number one. Okay, so at least you should practice this, multiple time. How to push the code. Okay, so for push, you have to follow all these four commands. For the push, you have to follow all these four commands.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. We have multiple projects like project one, project two in our local. Then to push, then if we pushing our code to remote, then every
Uh-huh.
time we have to create the repository, or in one repository we
So
can
see,
push multiple projects.
okay, so I will tell you. Okay, so ideally you are going to work on single project. Ideally, you are going to work on a single project. Okay, but there might be chances in one project there are multiple repositories available. All right. So in that case, so let's say you are having multiple repository, right? So it's whenever you are doing changes, you have to follow all these steps. There is no alternative. So let's say I'm having, project. So let's say project one. Okay. So see here, let's say I'm having this single project, right? So this is the first Java program, right? First Java. Okay. Now I'm having one more project. So let's say second Java. I can say the second Java. Second Java. So this is the second project that I have created. And I'll just say finish. Okay. Now second Java project is created here. All right. So let's say, see, this is altogether different project. And this particular project is altogether different project. So there is no relationship between these two projects. In that case, so this project should be have separate Git repository. What it means separate Git repository? Separate Git repository means this code should be pushed into the separate Git repository. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create here new repository. Here I'm going to create the new repository. So I will say create. Okay, so this will create the new branches. Okay, I don't want to add here. So I'll go here. Okay, I'll say okay. Ajay Torodman. Here I will go. And here I will say, I want to create the new repository. So I'll say new repository. So I will create the new repository and maybe I will give the name like, second Java. Okay, second Java. Okay, so I'll say public and all. All right. So I will create this new repository here. Right. So inside this particular repository, I'm going to add those changes here. All right. So don't confuse. Okay. At a time, think on one project. Okay. So I will tell you multiple project how you are going to do, but ideal scenario, you are going to work on one single project at a time.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So for this project, separate repository is there. For this project, separate repository is there. Okay. So you have to understand single project how I can do. Okay. Then you will eventually get idea on multiple project how I can do. All right. So first try to understand the single one. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now see what I did, like I have done some changes. Okay. For what purpose I have done these changes? So I want to remove or I want to remove some errors. So for example, here as well, there are some errors available, right? So I don't want this error here. So where exactly error is? Okay. So for example, it's saying like, what kind of error? Must return the result. Okay. So it's saying like, you just have to return the one integer number. So let's say I'm saying return one. One or two because I want to integer give the return integer. So for example, assume that I'm fixing some test cases or I'm fixing some problems in my project. Okay, so or maybe assume that I'm fixing some defects. Okay, so here it's saying like this type should be the string because it's returning what, change the type of result to the string. It's saying like result should be the string because maybe we are having string return type there. For the add method, which return type we are having string return type here, right? So see, for the error, I just resolve this. Okay, so now in my project there is no error, right? But to resolve this error, I have done some changes, right? And this is my today's task. Okay, to find out the or maybe to resolve these bugs. Okay, so I have resolved these bugs. All right. So now what you need to do? I need to push the code. Okay, now for the push the code, what we need to do? Okay, who is going to tell me what we need to do? So one person have to tell me command and one person have to tell me what will be do after this executing this command. Okay, so who's going to tell me? Okay, so let's say I'll take a random name. Okay, so for example, who is this unknown? Okay, unknown is who? Who is this unknown?
Sir, I think this is me, Saurabh.
Saurabh. Okay. Okay. So Saurabh, you have to tell me command. Okay, and Rohi, you have to tell me what is going to happen after executing this command. Okay. Okay. So see, I have done the changes. Okay. So I'll clear the screen. I want to push the code into the remote branches. So first, what I need to do? Saurabh, or anyone? Saurabh, you are on mute.
Yes, sir. Firstly, we, as you said, like the git status. You
Get
mentioned.
status. Perfect. Get status. Okay. Okay. What it will do? Git status.
It
Rohi.
will.
Yes, Rohi. We're not able to hear you. So maybe Rohi missed, previous session. So Rohi, we are not able to hear you. I'm not sure. Problem with. Okay, but Sanjay, would you like to tell what is happening after this command? Git status. Sanju.
uh, that will display what
Okay,
are the
we can say
pending
the
files.
yeah we can say the whatever changes that will be displayed here. Okay, after the git
Yeah.
status. Git status will show the current modification. Okay, so git status will show the current modifications. Okay, now Saurabh, next one.
Then we have to add the file with the command of the git add and
Okay,
double slash file name.
okay, so git add and you have to give the file name.
So,
Okay, so this is
yeah.
my first file. Okay, I can do the git add dot, but it will add all the files. Okay, but I don't want this, uh, all these files, right? So that's the reason I'm not using the git add here, but you can use the git add. What it will do, it will add all the changes. But right now I don't want to, add this particular changes. Okay, so that's the reason I'm just saying the git add. So it will add first file, then I will say git add, then it will add the second file. Okay, if you are having multiple files, you can say the git dot, git add dot. Okay, so it will add all the changes. Okay, so now what it will do, Sanju, after the git add. So you can see this particular diagram and you can tell. Where is that? Okay, so we are here, right? So after the git add, what it will do? Guys,
Ajay,
I think
we have to commit the changes.
right? But before adding, how you can commit the changes, right?
Yes.
So what?
It will update our code from workspace to the staging stage.
Right. So it will add or it will update your code into the staging area as well. So it will add your changes into the staging area. So Saurabh, next command is that. What? What is the
We need
next
to
command, Saurabh?
we need to verify the status, git status,
Okay.
whether
Get
that.
status. Okay. Now those changes are staged. Right. So
Yes.
now
Now
what next command we have to
we
execute?
need to commit that changes.
Okay, git
Git
commit
commit dash yum
commit hyphen m
hyphen
and
m.
then
Yeah.
commit name. Okay.
Commit.
So fix bug for, or maybe you can say the fix the test for admin module.
Sir, it is compulsory that we have to provide a double code or the
Yeah, it's compulsory. After slash m, you have to provide the compulsory double quotes. Okay, you have to add it in double quote. Okay,
okay,
so
whether
now
it is having any problem if we provide a single code if you forgot.
single code I haven't tried, but you can try. Okay, single
Okay.
quotes it's working on now. Because it should work. Okay, with the single quote as well. Uh, because see in Linux and uh, uh, in TypeScript, right? So single quotes is allowed. Okay, so you can try it with single quote. Okay, so now anyone wants to tell me what exactly happened after this commit, git commit slash m? Anyone?
Sir, it will update the code from staging to the local
Local
repository.
repository, exactly. So it will update your code from the staging to the local repository. Now my code is into the local repository. From local repository, I can push the code to the remote repository. So next command, what I need to execute?
We need
Git
to
push.
verify the
Git
status
push.
first.
Yes, git push. Okay, status as well, you can verify. Good point. Okay, git status. Okay, it's very, I mean, it's always better. You can check the status. Okay, git status. Okay, what I'm adding here, git status. Okay, so now it's saying like, your changes is added. Okay, now my changes is on local repository. From local repository, I want to push the changes. Okay, so what is next command, Vajra?
Git push origin master.
Okay, so git push origin master.
Yes. Sir, why we provided the name like the original master? What does that mean?
See, origin means his branch name. Okay, origin means branch name. Okay, and sorry, not origin means the master means branch name. So this is master. Okay, and this is you can say the branch name. I will come to you. I mean, what is mean by branch? How to create the branch and all, right? But as of now, just understand this is the branch name. Master is the branch name, and origin means I'm saying like I want to operate or I want to execute this command on remote repository. Okay, to mention it's remote branch or to tell the git this is the remote branch, you have to mention the origin. Origin is equal to remote. You can consider origin is equal to remote or uh, the branch which have created on GitHub. Okay, so we can say the origin is equal to remote.
Okay, sir.
Okay, whenever you see the origin, that means you are working on remote repository. Okay, clear?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
In the above command, before the git push origin masters, we
Mm-hmm.
have update the git status. So how
Mm-hmm.
would we know that we have committed our project from staging to from that message? Uh,
Right. So basically,
how
see,
would we know?
for the I mean after the committing, it will not show any changes here. Okay, so from there as well you can verify the I mean identify that there is no changes displayed, means that changes is added into the your local repository. Okay, but if you want you can check the commit id as well. So for that it will create the commit id. Okay, so if you see git what is the command, log. Okay, so these are the commit IDs created. Okay, so on the basis of this commit ID, okay, so these are the first commit ID. So this is the latest commit ID. Okay, with the help of this commit ID as well, you can track the changes. I will show you where exactly we have to see these changes. Okay, just remember this commit ID. I'll tell you where exactly it will display. Right. Now what you need to do? You need to say git push is done. Right. So now you have to go here. Okay, git push is done. So you have to go to the remote repository. Okay, and which is your branch name? What is your branch name? Sorry, what is your repository name? What is the repository? Batch 17, right? Batch 17, right? So this is your branch, this is your repository, right? So in this repository, we have done some changes, right? So it's saying like, this change we have added, right? But you want to see those changes, okay, what we have committed, right? So if you see, this is the commit ID. Okay, what is the commit ID? 72F or something like it's end with EE 29. Okay, so if you go here and if you see 72 EE29. Okay, so this is the latest commit ID is created. And when exactly commit ID is created? When you see git commit and you give the message. So last commit ID is this one. You can see in this last commit ID, there are two changes available. So first change is this one and second change is this one. So we have removed the string and here we have just added string instead of integer. So if you see previously there was int available. So now I have just modded. So modified this instead of string instead of int I'm saying string. So if you see here it's saying like a minus. What we have minus? The int is we have minus and instead of int you have added. So it's saying like plus. What changes you have done? You have added this plus. Okay, so here as well. So it's saying like you have done the two changes. One is the you have added this return one and one line is also added. So that's the reason it's saying 2 plus. Right. So here it's saying like 1 minus. What is the 1 minus? I just removed this string and 1 plus is extra line is added here. Okay. So this is how we can check the changes. Okay, so these are the changes available. Right. So basically we got the idea. Okay. So every time whenever we do the changes, we have to execute all these three commands. All these three commands we have to execute. Okay. But now assume, so let's say I go to the office. Okay. I mean, I joined the office today. Okay. But let's say I already told, in my project. So let's say there are three people's working, right? So for example, I join office today, or maybe I was on vacation and after the vacation I joined the office. Okay. Till that particular point, let's say Vajra and Digambar is working, right? So they have done some coding, they have added some code into the remote repository, and that particular code is not available on my local. All right. So let's do one thing. We will add some code from Vajra's and Digambar's machine. Right. So what we will do? So let's assume these two people are doing some code. Okay. So for example, they have modified some file. Okay. As of now, I don't have multiple machines here, right? So what I will do, I will modify code directly on remote, right? So you can assume that, okay, so let's say Vajra and Digambar added these changes. Okay. So first, let's say Digambar added some changes, right? So for example, what Digambar did in util, okay, so I'll say modify. Okay. So he updated this message. Okay, or maybe don't assume that like he just updated this message. Okay, so he has done some changes into the read file, right? So it's saying like we use, okay, let's say uh file stream to read data from, let's assume, okay, one message I have added, but you can say like one method is updated. Let's say Digambar is updated one message. Digambar updated this particular message. Right. So I'll do this commit. Okay, so it will ask for the, some description. Okay, so I'll say commit message and some description it will ask. Okay, so I'll say uh, updated, which method? Read data from file. Okay, and I'll say commit it. Okay, so this particular message is committed. And let's say from the Vajra side, Vajra has added some changes as well, right? So let's say she's doing some changes into the package 2. Okay, so in package 2, we have test class, and in this particular test class, so she has done some changes. So let's say, let's say uh, inside main method, let's assume here she's writing some code. Okay, I'm not going to write code here. Okay, so let's assume, so this particular line she has added here inside the main method, inside the main method, and inside 4 times I have added this. Okay, so this is the, let's say, line of code she has added here. All right, so now I will say commit. I'll give the commit ID. Yeah, so let's say updated test class class in package 2. Okay, and I'll say commit. All right, so this is committed now, right? This is changes available in my remote repository. Okay, so in remote repository there are two changes available which is not there on my machine. In remote there are two changes available which is not available on my machine. Correct. On remote there are two changes available which is not available here inside my local repository. Here in this particular repository or in my working directory, those changes are now not available. So now today I came to office, okay, and I want to start my work, right? So before I start my work, I have to execute one command. Okay, so before doing any work, okay, so let's say I will open the git bash here and I have to execute one command. Okay, which is that? Which command I have to execute? So I have to say git pull. Git pull. Okay. What it will do, it will pull all the code from this particular remote branches, or you can say git pull origin master. Git pull origin master. That means I'm saying, okay, I want to pull the code from the master. Okay, I want to pull the code from the master branch. From where? From the remote. From the remote repository, I want to pull the code. So we have seen the how to push the code, but now someone is doing the changes. Those changes I want to pull on my machine. Those changes I want to download or I want to pull on my machine, right? So for that command is there, git pull origin master.
Ajay, before this command, if we check the status, I mean, like if we give git status,
Hmm?
then will I know that there were changes done?
No, 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 because those changes are available on remote branches, right? So on your
Hmm.
local branches, you will not get to know, okay, there are some changes available.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay, so those changes will not all. But now if you see, once I done the pull, all right. So if you see there are, it's what it's saying, we got the two changes here. Okay, which are those? So one is the util, you have done some changes, and one is the src package 2 test Java, we have done some changes. Okay, so 6 changes is there, and 3 changes are available in this particular file. Okay, now if I go to
Hello.
my, just let me complete. Okay. Uh, Now if I go to this particular folder, okay, this particular file, okay, now if you see, these are the changes which is from the remote is now available on my local as well, on my working directory, we can say. Okay, it is available on my working directory as well, right? So as well, we have done some changes in util as well. Okay, so these are the changes we have done in util. So these changes is available on my working directory as well now. Okay, so for that, pull the code. Which command you have to execute? Git pull. Okay, git pull directly you can say, or you can say the git pull origin master. Okay, no need to say origin remote. It will by default understand. But sometime if you get the error, you have to say git pull origin master. Okay, git pull origin master. What it will do? It will download, or it will load all the remote repository code into your local repository. Okay, now yeah, Vipin. Tell me. What is your
Sir,
question?
my question is, we have already opened the Git bash, but if we
Hmm?
want to open our Git bash, then we have to go to that particular package where the
Hmm?
Git hidden file is created, so that we
Correct.
have to open,
Correct.
and then we have to apply the Git pull.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So now this is how it should work. Okay. But now see, uh, what we seen. Okay, what we have so far, what we understand. Okay, so if you are doing some changes, okay, what we need to do? I'm adding some changes. Once I have added the changes, I need to check the status. Okay, now status. Uh, I will get idea how many changes are there, how many files I have changed. Right. Then we have to add those changes into the staging area. Okay, for that command is that git add. Then I will check the status. Then I have to do the commit changes. I have to commit the changes. Right. Now I have committed the changes as well. Okay, that means I have added the changes into the my remote repository. Sorry, my local repository. The changes is added into the local repository. Now from the local, I can push to the remote repository. So these are the steps I have to follow. Okay. Now additionally, one more step we got. Okay, before you start the work, you have to pull the code. Okay, you have to do the git pull. Okay, before your work start, you have to pull the code. Right. And pull what basically it will do? It will pull the latest code from the remote repository. It will pull the latest code from the remote repository to your local repository or your on your machine. It will pull the latest code from the remote repository to your machine. Okay. So you have to execute the pull. Okay. Before start this work, right? Before doing some changes, you have to pull the latest code on your machine. You have to pull your code into the your machine, right? Now see, sometimes what will happen, okay, so let's say I'm doing some changes. I'm doing some changes. Okay. And whenever I'm doing the changes, okay, so let's say I done some changes. Okay. And parallelly, so let's say Sanju is also doing some changes. Right. So before I push the code, Sanju already pushed the code. Before I push the code, Sanju already pushed the code. All right. So in that case, what we need to do? Because see, I want to push the code, my code, right? But my branch is always needs to sync with the develop. My branch is always need to sync with this particular branch. Which branch? Remote branch. If you see, if you go to the remote, okay, so I will close unnecessary. It's unnecessary creating the confusion. Okay. So here, see, here one master branch is there, right? This is the master branch. So in remote, one master branch is there, and on my local as well, there is one master branch is available, right? So from my local branch, okay, when I want to push the code, in that case, my code should be synced with this particular master. Now, what I'm saying, whenever I'm doing some changes. So let's say I'm doing some changes here. Okay. So whenever I'm doing some changes, so for example, I have added this message again. So I have done in same function, I have done some changes. All right. So these are the changes I have added here in this particular function. Read file. I have added some changes. Now, typically, what steps you are going to follow? These are the steps you are going to follow, right? These are the steps you are going to follow. All right. So typically, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say git status. Okay. So it will show me one file. Then I have to add git add. Okay. So I'm going to add this particular change. Okay, so I have added this particular change and I'll say git status. Okay, then I have to commit this particular change, right? So for that I have to say git commit. Okay, whatever you have added into the staging area, only those file will be getting committed whenever I'm seeing the commit, right? So whenever whatever you have added into the staging area. So right now I have added only one file into the staging area. So that particular file is going to commit only. It's not going to commit entire project. Okay. So whatever changes I have added, that particular changes is going to commit. Okay. Now I will do the git commit. Okay. So I'll say updated read file file method. Read file method I have updated. All right. So commit is done. Right. So next is, let's say I'm going to say git status. Okay. Git status. Okay. But now see, the scenario is here. Whenever I'm working on my code, or fixes, or whenever I'm working on my work, all right. So at that time, so let's say Sanju has, what what he does. Okay. So he has added some code. Okay. So let's say this a.java. Java. What he did, he has added this particular file this particular code again. Okay, so let's say he added one more constructor here. Okay, so let's say for this constructor, it's having one more int d param. So this is the your 4 arc constructor. 4 arc constructor he has added. Right. So now he committed the code. He has committed the code. Okay. So now code is committed. Right. Now see, before push the code to the remote branches, before push the code to the remote branches, ideally what needs to do, you need to pull the remote code on your branches, on your local repository, right? So for that, command is there, git pull origin master. So ideally you should not push your code directly, otherwise you will get a lot of conflict, right? So I will come to that particular point, what is meant by conflicts and all. But ideally, what I need to do, I need to say git pull origin master. Okay, so basically I'm pulling, I just pull the code. Okay, so what happened? Please enter the commit message. Okay, what command I have executed? Colon q. Git pull origin. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but see, this particular file is, pulled on my machine. Okay, which one? A.java. We have done some changes, right? So A.java. All right. So now if I go here, okay, and if I go to the A.java, so there is one more constructor that I have added. That is the 4 arc constructor. If you see this particular constructor I have added, right? So A.java, constructor A is having 4 parameter, and I said, like, this is 4 arc constructor. So that particular code is, we can see here, that is downloaded now, right? So anytime if you are going to push the code, before that, what you need to do, you need to pull the code on your machine. I will come to this particular point why you need to do this particular activity, but remember you have to do this particular activity always. Okay, so you have to pull the code. Okay, so you have to, before push, you have to pull the code from the remote. Okay, so now one step is added here. Okay, so first of all, what you need to do, if you are doing some changes, you have to take the status, then we have to add the files into your staging area, then you have to check the status, then you have to add the changes into your local repository, then you have to check the status, and then pull the changes. Okay, whatever changes available on remote branches, then you have to pull all the changes from the remote branch, and then you have to push the change. Okay. Now, whenever you're doing the pull the changes, whenever you're going to pull the changes, that might be possibility some conflict will occur. So conflict means what we will see in upcoming session. Okay. But as of till here, anyone is having any issue or any question till here. Okay. So you have to take care of these commands. I'll add this on WhatsApp group. Okay. So tell me first thing. Okay. Honestly, you're able to understand this or not? If you're
Yes, sir.
not able, I mean, understanding this basic concept, then you will face the challenges to understand the Git as well. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
if we have one Java file, dot class file created in the Eclipse, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to change that name of that file which were created in the Eclipse, and I had changed that file name and okay, so
Yes, that's possible. Yeah. So let's say this particular util file is there, right? So I want to change this particular. So let's say I want to change this particular name, right? So I will say, uh,
no, from not here, from
okay,
repository,
repository means which repository?
from our GitHub when we
GitHub.
change the file name.
Okay. Okay. So here, so ideally, see guys, from here, I'm just for the showing purpose, I'm doing the changes here. Okay. Ideally, you should not update anything from this particular remote repository. Okay. Because I don't have multiple machines. That's the reason I'm just, updating code here directly. And I'm saying like, this particular code is updated. Let's say, Digambar, let's say this particular code is updated by, let's say, Vajra, right? But actually, it's you can update okay from here, but this is not good practice. Okay, you should not update anything from here. Okay, you should follow the practice. Okay, you can take the pull, you can update the code there, then you can add the file, you can commit the file, you can take the pull, you can push the code. Okay, then it should be reflected. You want to change the name, you can change it here from here. Okay, so for example, I want to change this particular name, right? So ideally, what I should do, I can change the name from here. Like I'll say my util. Okay, so this is my util file. Okay, so this particular name I have to change. All right, so I will say my util and I'll say finish. I'll say finish. Okay, so now the file name is my util. All right, so now if I go here and if I say like git status. Okay, so now it's saying one file deleted. Okay, so it is consider that particular file you have deleted itself. Okay, and it will consider one new file you have created. Okay, it's not, it will not say that you have done the changes in this particular file, or you have to just change the name of the file. It say like you have deleted this util file and you have added one file, that is the my util file, right? So what I will do, I'll say commit the changes. Okay, so I'll say git add. Okay, then I'll say git status. Now, if you see one file is one file is what? We have just stage one file. Okay, in staging area, we have one file. So this particular file as well, you have to commit because it's saying like it's deleted, right? So let's commit it. You have to say git commit. Sorry, not commit. You have to add it first. Okay, git add. Okay, and you have to give the file name. Okay, then you have to say git status. Okay, now it's saying like from this file you have changed the name this one. Now it got, I mean, understand this that, but initially what it was saying, it's saying like one file you have created new and one file you have deleted. Now it's saying like this is just rename. It's saying like this is just rename. All right, so now I have to say git commit minus m. Okay. Updated name of util. Okay, then I will say git status. And ideally, which command should I execute before the push the change?
Pull.
Git
Pull
pull,
command.
right? So I have to say git pull origin master. So I
Master.
just pull the code. Okay, so now it's saying like, everything is updated and that's fine. Okay, it's saying like, everything because there is no change available now. Okay, because my branch and whatever remote branch, those branches are similar now. Okay, there are no extra code available on remote branch and there are no extra code. I mean, there are extra code available on local, but on remote branch, there are no extra code available, right? And now if I say like git push origin master, master, sorry, master. Okay, now my code is push. Okay, now see if I go here. Okay, now what is the name of that particular file? My my util file. Right. So now here file name is changed. Okay, now what is your question? So now this particular name is changed, right? So let's say now tomorrow if you are downloading this particular code and code is already available on your machine, right? So if you do the git pull, right? So now you in your machine as well, this file name will be renamed. Is it answer to your question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but yeah, in ideal practice, you are not going to change the name from here. Okay, so see, this particular is like this particular repo is a final code. This is the final code for each and every one is going to add their final code in this particular branch. Okay, this master branch. So ideally, you should not touch this particular branch. Okay, and this is not allowed to update anything from here. Okay, so this is not good practice, if you're updating something from here, right? So for that, you have to follow all these commands, what we have learning so far. Okay, so now my question is that, are you able to understand what's going on?
Uh,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
Ajay, uh,
Yes.
so how do we get the commit ID after we commit something?
Okay, so ideally see, whenever I'm saying like, commit message I'm giving. So for example, for this, I'm giving this commit message. Okay, so for example, added the test. So this is the commit ID. So from here, if you click on this particular message, so this is the commit ID. This is the commit ID. Okay, if
Right,
you want to check it on your local, you have to use the command git log. Okay, so it will give the list of the commit ID. So it will give in order. Okay, so this is my latest commit ID. Okay, after that this is my I mean past commit ID, and after that this one is there, this one is there. Okay, but this is my latest one. So currently my head is pointing here on this commit ID.
right. So, to check with the remote repository, should I click on the file itself to get the commit ID or?
No, 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 no. So see, whenever I will go here, okay, so there is, so let me go to the code. Okay, so here it should display, yeah, see 15 commits is there, right? So in my repository, so far I have done the 15 commits, right? Because see, I'm daily basis, I'm sending like, I have pushed the code on remote repository, right? So you can pull the code or you can check my repository, right? So far I have done the 15 commits, right? So if I click on this commit, okay, so all these are the different commits available. Right. So if you see today's 4 minute ago, I have done one commit. Okay. And so this is the commit ID for that. Okay. So if I click on this commit ID, so if you see, this is the commit ID. So my last change was this one. Okay. So from remote, how do you check the commit ID? All the commit ID. Commit means what? Commit means whenever I am doing, I am executing the command git commit minus m, and then I'm giving some message. That means every time you are executing this commit command, it will create one commit ID. It will create one commit ID. So basically it will from add your code from the staging area to the local repository. It will add your code from the staging area, means from here to here, as well as it will create one commit ID as well. Okay, so that particular commit ID will have all the changes you have done in that particular commit. Okay, so basically if I go here, okay, in my repository. Okay, I can see, I mean, there are 15 commits available. Okay, so if I click on this commit, so this is the latest commit available. Okay, so if I click on latest commit, okay, so if you see, these are the changes I have done. What changes I have done? Okay, so basically I have changed the name, and whenever I'm changing the name, right? So in that case, class name will be also changed, right? File name, if I'm changing, class name is also changed, right? So it's saying like, in this particular commit, okay, so this is the commit ID. Okay, so this is the commit ID, basically this one, right? And in this particular commit ID or in this particular commit, I have done this particular changes. Okay, now tomorrow if I want to check, 2 days ago what I did, right? So I have to find out that particular commit. Okay, so for example, let's say 16 minute ago, 36 minute ago. Okay, so let's say 3 days ago, I have done this particular, right? So I can check here, okay, in this particular commit, what I did exactly, right? So I have added here some local changes or something like that. So that is the changes I have done. Okay. So for example, tomorrow I want to, check, what I did exactly in this particular commit. Right. So I have added like these programs, all these programs I have added in this particular commit ID. So there are multiple programs I have added in this particular commit ID. So I can check, each and every commit ID if I want. Okay. So guys, everything is tracked here. Okay, so tomorrow if you are adding some, dirty code, or tomorrow if you are adding some code which is creating some problem, right? So people are going to check your each and every commit, and they will point you, okay, in this commit you did this wrong, in this commit you have done something wrong, and because of that issue started occur. So each and everything will, have their history here. Okay, each and every changes will maintain here, and we can check, which commit ID what you did, in which commit what you did wrong. You can easily track whenever, and it happens, okay, in industry something is fail, right? So people will start to check the commit IDs. If something is started breaking, right? So people will check the commit ID, and they will see, they will show you, okay, you did this wrong, that's the reason it's failing, right? So you have to be careful, updating code or something like that, right? So for that you have to understand git well, right? So, yeah.
So any other the other question is, so uh I have uh add git status, right?
Mhm.
So basically I have added the new package, right? When I go to git bash and
Mhm.
type git status, it display the uh, newly added package. So do
Yes,
I have to add that package? Because I don't see the files inside that package. I see
right,
only the package name. So
right.
do I have to first add that package and then?
Ideally not. I mean, you can add the package, you can add the file, and if you are adding the file, you can, I mean, commit that. Okay. So basically, your question is that what we can do? We can add one package. Okay. So first scenario is that you can add one package. Okay, so let's add the package. I can say the package 3, right? And let's say finish. Okay, go to the git bash and say, first of all, I'll do the clear. Okay, and then I have to say git status. Okay, so basically it's not showing here, even here, right? Because you haven't added any file, right? So now, because basically it will track your files only. Okay, so folder it will not track. This is the basically folder, right? So in that, if I say like, one class, and I'll say uh, test git, test git. Okay, and I'll say finish. Okay, so this class is added now. This is the file now, right? So now if I say the status, right? So now if you see, it's saying like, something is there inside the src package 3. Now it's not showing the name. Why? Because there are only one file, so you can add entire folder, this particular folder. Because this folder is new, you have to add this particular folder, right? So I have to say git add, and I have to provide this particular path. Okay, now git status. Okay, now it will show the this particular changes. New file is added inside the src package 3. So then you have to execute commit, and then you have to push. Right. But if you are adding only package, it will not, I mean, reflect the changes. If you are adding
Yeah,
any file,
yeah.
then it will show.
So
Okay.
when I add the package, it shows the files inside it now. So I can just do the commit, right? I don't need to add the file separately, right?
No, no, no. So whenever you are creating one package, right? So in that case, you don't have to add that particular package. But inside that package, if you are adding one file, right? So in that case, you have to update that. Okay. So whenever you doing the any file related change, in that case only you have to update at the, I mean, uh, Git will show you. Okay. If you are adding only single package, right? So for example, I'll show it again. Okay. So if I'm saying like, Git package, right? And I'm saying like, this is pkg4. Sorry, pkg4, right? So in that case, if I do the git status, right? Now if you see, I'm not able to see the pkg4, or what is the pack 4, right? This is the pack 4, right? So pack 4 I'm not able to see here until and unless I'm going to add the file into inside the package 4. It will not show you. Okay. So you have to add the file, then it will reflect as a change. Now it's not reflecting as a change here. Clear or not?
So let's say I have a package, and inside that package I have 3 files. Then
Mm-hmm.
when I type git status, the package is displayed. So I add the package, and then type git status. All the file inside, all 3 files are getting displayed. Then
Mm-hmm.
then I just want when I then I just want to do the commit, right?
Hmm.
So
Right, right. So
right.
see, you have created one package, so you have done the git status, right? So it will not show that particular package. Why? Because you haven't added any file in that particular package. Right. So this is the point number 1. Now you have added the 3 files in that particular package. Now it will say in this particular package, so and so package, you have 3 files which is not committed yet, or which is newly changed, or which is newly added file. Right. So now if it is newly added, you have done the changes. Where you have done the changes? Inside the your which area?
Inside
Working,
my
sorry, work
inside,
workspace, right?
yeah,
Inside workspace you have done the changes, right? So whatever changes you have done here, workspace. In workspace, you have added the 3 files now. Right. Now see, I have to push that particular code. So I have to stage, then local, and then remote. Right. So I have to add the that particular change into the staging area. So once it is staging area, I have to commit it so that it will get added into the local repository. and then I have to push the changes, right? So whenever you are doing any change, you have to follow all these commands.
Yeah, so because I have already add the package, I don't need to add file separately, right? So package being added means the files also being added.
No, 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 no.
So
It's not like that. It's not like that. Okay. So you're saying like, package added means what? Okay. So for example, I have created this package, and in that package, so for example, I have created one file. Okay. Let's say test one I have created. Okay. Test one I have created. Now, whenever I do the git status, what it will show? One new file is added. Which one is this? Test one file is there, right? So if I go here and if I say git status, right? So now if you see, it's saying src pkg1 is there, pkg4 is there, because see, in that particular folder only one file is available, right? So that's the reason it's not showing the full path. It's saying like, you can add this particular package and that file will get automatically added, right? But now see, if I'm having one more file here, so it will show differently. Now if I say like, I'm having test2 here, okay, and if I say git status, git status, sorry, it's saying like, there are two files available, right? So inside this particular package, right? So what I need to do, I need to copy this, okay, this particular path, and I have to say git add, paste it. Okay, so now if I say the git status, how many files will show it into the staging area? And sorry, git add is done, git status. Okay, so now it's saying like, see, already previously I have added one file and now I have added two files, right? So total three files, because in package three, I have previously added one file, right? So that change is showing here because this is already in stage area. And after that, I have added the two changes, right? So this is showing here, right? So total three file I have changed so far. So tomorrow, if I feel, oh, I forgot one file, I have to add one more file. Okay, so let's say test three I have to add. Okay, so let's say class test three I have to add. Right, so I will add this particular test three. And now if I go here, okay, and I'll say git status. Now if you're saying, if you see, it's saying like, three file already added inside the stage area, and there is one file which is available inside your workspace. One file is in workspace, three files are in stage area. One file is in workspace because I have recently added this, recently made the changes. Right. So if I want to add this particular file is as well inside the stage area, then I have to say git what add. Okay. So every time if you are doing any change, doesn't matter. Okay, what is you have in your stage area, what is in you have in your uh, which area? Uh, uh,
local repository.
local directory, right? Local directory. So that doesn't, local repository, that doesn't matter. Okay, whatever you have doing the changes, if you are committing, it will add into the stage area. Now stage area already three files are available, right? If you are doing like, git add, okay, and enter, then again it will do, I will do git status. How many files will be there in stage area? Four files are there. If I'm adding one more file, if I'm doing git add, five files will be there, right? So this is how it will maintain the stage area. Because see, so far I haven't committed, right? So those files are there inside the stage area only. You are clear now, right, Sanjay?
Yeah, yeah. So I just want to add the git commit to push those code to local repository, right?
Correct, correct, correct. So commit will push this particular till you are not doing the commit. Those file will be there inside your inside your
Stage.
stage area. Okay,
Yeah.
so those file will be there inside your stage area. Okay, now there might be possibility I did some commit, right? So if I'm doing the git commit minus m, okay, so let's say I'm added three file. Okay, I added three files. So now three files I have committed. And after that, I remember, okay, I have to add one more file. Okay. Then what I can do, I forgot one more file to add, right? So I will say here, go here, I'll say add. So I'll say test, let's say test 4, right? So test 4 is added. Okay.
Sir,
Then,
kindly add one more file here.
okay, one more file.
Test file.
So I'll say test 5. Sorry, test 5. Okay. So now two files I have added here, right? So I'll say git status. Okay, so new two changes are there, right? So what I will do, I will add those changes. So I'll say git add. Okay, so let's say 5. Okay, git status. Okay, so there is one more file available inside the your workspace, right? So I will add this particular file as well. So I'll say git add.
Ajay, can't multiple files?
Sorry.
Can't be because we have two files to be added. Can't be view file at once.
Yeah, yeah, you can add for that git dot command is there. So it will add everything.
Right, right.
Yeah, git dot command is there. Git add dot. So this command will add everything, but I don't want to, go this particular file. So that's the reason I'm not using git add. Okay. I'll say git status. Okay. Now two files are staged. Now I'll say git commit. Okay. Fix. Or I will say added to file. Okay. Now see, ideally there are two commits it's created. So I have execute commit command. How many times? Two commit, two times, right? Now I will say git push origin master, right? So I'll say master. Okay, so now ideally I should push, but I don't, I mean, I know like, no one is using my repository. So I'm not, I'm not doing the git pull, right? So, but ideally when you're working on project before push, you have to pull the code, right? So I'm not doing the pull, right? So now this particular code is push, right? So now if you see, there will be the separate two commits will be available here. Okay, now if I go here on my remote repository, okay. So now previously 15 commits are there, right? So now how much it should be? Now two commits I have added, right? So it's saying like, 17 commits are there. So each git commit command will create the separate commit. Okay, if I go here, okay. So first it's saying like, added three files, right? So previous first time you have added the three files, right? So which are those? Which are those? So you're inside the package for, okay. So test one, test two, and test three files is added here. Okay, test three files added here. Okay, and after that next commit, what you added in next commit? So how to go to the next commit? So for that I will say back. Okay, next commit, two files is there, right? So this particular commit is there, right? So in this commit, test 4 and test 5 is added. So it's saying in that commit, right? So this is how we can track the changes, or this is how you can get to understand, okay, what I did in this commit, what I did in that commit, right? Clear or not? Okay,
Clear.
yeah. So I think
Uh,
that's it. Yeah,
Hello
anyone?
Ajay, Avinash
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
Actually, if someone means that if we added or by mistakenly we added the wrong changes, then
Mhm.
wrong changes by mistakenly we have added in or we have pushed particular wrong changes into that
Okay.
case.
Okay. So
So that time, what we are doing
okay.
in
So
that
for
case?
example, there are multiple options there, but
Yes,
simplest way I will tell you. Okay. For example, what you feel like, you have added wrong change.
yes,
So might be you see like, this let's say this particular file,
yes,
test file, this particular main method should not be there. Or maybe, so for example, in any package, okay, so for example, this is package one, right? So in package one, let's say here you are saying for loop or something. So let's say I want to here I want to print 1 to 10 number, right? So
yes.
ideally for loop should be the 10, right? So you can change here. Okay, so what you have pushed or what you have merged, you can change here. And again, you can do, okay, git add, git status. Okay,
Okay,
so this is the one way. Okay. And entirely if you're break whole things or break everything, then you can revert to the previous version. Okay. But for that, I mean, we need to understand, uh, how to, I mean, roll back that particular change. Okay,
okay,
so I'll tell you, okay, how to roll back the changes and all. But I'm not sure here I can able to do it or not, because this is not paid one. Okay, but I'll check, how to roll back the changes. Okay, but ideally you should know, I mean, what exactly you have done the wrong. So for example, this class you should not push, but you have pushed this particular class. Okay, so for
yes,
example, this particular package one, right? So get the updated code on your machine. Okay, so this particular class should not be there, right? So just delete it, or this particular package should not be there, right?
yes.
So just delete it, this particular package. Okay, so I have deleted this particular package. Then go here and say git status. Right. So it's saying like, this particular package is deleted now. This particular
Yes,
file is deleted. So then add this particular change, commit this particular change, and push this particular change. So it will remove. Okay. So whatever you did wrong, you just, make sure you will add the correct code and you have to push that particular code. So it will automatically resolve.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. So anyone, any question? So if not, then we'll stop and I'll share the recording. But this is very important. Okay, I am expecting everyone should practice this particular concept. Okay, so that it will be easy for you guys. Okay, so tomorrow we'll learn, okay, how to clone the project. Okay, and how to create the branches, how to resolve the conflicts. So tomorrow's session as well, it's important session. So please try to attend.
Actually, Ajay,
Mhm.
actually here still I'm getting that username and password.
Issue, na?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yes.
okay, okay. So, I mean, rest of the people can drop, or I'll stop the recording as well. Okay, I'll check with him. Okay, what is the exactly issue?